Okay, great. I think it's time to get started. So I hope that everyone who's attending this talk is feeling great. I'm super excited to spend the next 20 minutes to 30 minutes with all of you and talk about the best ways to increase e-commerce conversion rates. So before we dive into that, first a quick introduction. So who am I? Well, I'm Sam van Hees. I'm the co-founder and strategy director of StoryVams, and I'm responsible for everything marketing and strategy related for ourselves and for our clients. And StoryVams is an e-commerce agency that now exists for almost 5 years. We're based in Amsterdam. We're growing super fast, and we're now with 35 talented people. And what we do exactly is we build and scale leading e-commerce brands. So for Signify, Fjallraven, Cube Bikes, Bowls, or Intersport, we create e-commerce experiences customers love. And how we do that is by taking control over the entire experience. So meaning from strategy to design, development, and content production. Because by taking control over the entire experience, we can ensure we deliver a unique, fast, and high converting e-commerce experience that customers love, of course. So that's that for the introduction. Now let's jump into the real stuff. So over the last 5 years, almost 5 years, we have learned a lot about the e-commerce industry, what makes brands successful, and what best practices are to increase conversion rates. And that's what I want to share with all of you today. So the topics for today are the new role of e-commerce, the C of sameness, the 20-20 rule of content and storytelling, and the 3 best practices to increase e-commerce conversion rates. So let's get started. The new role of e-commerce. Well, our mobile phone is always in our pockets, our laptop is a few steps away, and our tablet is laying somewhere in the house. And what I'm trying to say is that our digital life is everywhere, and we're in the digital first economy. And as consumers, we know this, but brands, they tend to forget. They forget that digital has become the most important medium to communicate with your customers. And not acting on this new reality results in low conversion rates, and therefore e-commerce brands miss out on lots of valuable customers. And a few years back, so traditionally, retail shoppers started their purchasing journey in physical stores. But more recently, as we all know, because of the pandemic, we accelerated into this digital first economy. And these same shoppers are now both using online and offline as their starting point. And even further, for most brands, the website has now become the most dominant channel, simply because more and more consumers start and end their journey purely digital. And Casper Rohrstedt, the CEO of Adidas, went as far as saying, our single most important store in the world is our .com store, and there's no comparison. And when such a large brand that actually has a lot of physical retail stores says something like this, it's hard to ignore. And we are indeed in the digital first economy, and digital has become the most important medium and channel for businesses. But unfortunately, when you look at the whole e-commerce space, this new reality has not sunk in. And that brings me to the next point, the C of sameness. So e-commerce is still most often referred to as the C of sameness. And the reason being is that almost every web shop looks more or less the same, meaning from the content to the layout and the functionalities, almost every web shop looks more or less the same. But today, in order to win, brands need to stand out, and you need to stand out on all fronts. You need to deliver powerful content-focused e-commerce experiences to increase your conversion rates and actually win. And, e-commerce experiences today should delight customers and then help them make a well-educated purchase decision. And doing this starts by really understanding that your e-commerce website is no longer just a conversion channel. Your e-commerce website is a brand moment, and it's a crucial part of your brand, if not the lifeline of your brand. And so the role of e-commerce has changed. and brands need to act on this new change in order to win the next decade. So, how do you act on this new reality and deliver an e-commerce experience that actually converts? Well, that is where the 20 to 20 rule comes in. So, when someone is on your website, they've clearly taken the time to get to the website, meaning they're open to investing time and taking a deep dive into everything that you have to offer. And it's important to remember that for your customers, your e-commerce experience is the most important part of their buying journey. And to support customers in their journey, e-commerce brands need to incorporate the 20-20 rule in order to increase conversions. So the 20-20 rule. It starts with 20 seconds. You have 20 seconds to capture attention, then 2 minutes to drive engagement, and last but not least, 20 minutes to build relationships. So let's dive into it. The first one, 20 seconds to capture attention. According to Facebook, brands on social media have about 1.7 seconds to tell their story. So that is 1.7 seconds to stand out and pique consumer interest. And luckily, with your website, your e-commerce website, you have a bit more time, but clarity and speed are still key because customers must be able to understand what you do within 20 seconds. And Donald Miller, the best-selling author of the book Story Brand, has a very nice quote that, really sums this up. And it is, if you confuse, you lose. So how can you make sure that you're not confusing anyone, but are actually winning clients over? Well, what you need to do for that is make it super clear how you're adding value to your customers' lives. And with that, also spark curiosity in your visitor. Because when someone is curious, they will scroll down and are thus happy to learn more. And in general, when people land on your e-commerce website, they of course see something and they start reading something. And the thing that they're looking for is something touching, funny, thought-provoking, inspiring, or something related to a personal or professional development. And the best way to speak to this is to forget about your product and product specifications, and instead think of your product from the customer's point of view and start really thinking about product features. And product features you can see as hobbies, activities, or benefits that people can actually understand. Features that help them visualize the product and help them understand how your product is adding value to their lives. So I have two examples of this. The first one is House. House is actually one of the fastest growing direct-to-consumer brands at the moment, and they incorporate this first part of the 20-20 rule perfectly. House sells low alcohol drinks, and instead of focusing on for example, this is low alcohol, it's low calorie, etc. Those are all product specifications. They instead focus on the product feature, which is feel good about what you drink. And this is what you immediately see when you land on their website. And with this statement, they first of all pique your curiosity, and it also becomes clear how they're trying to add value to your life, to the customer's life. And that is the goal of those 20 seconds. Another example comes from Warby Parker, a super fast growing direct consumer brand, which has now become a real household name. And when you enter their website, or land on their website, I should say, you immediately see this message. Buying eyewear should leave you happy, good looking, with money in your pocket. Glasses, sunglasses, and contacts, we've got you covered. Well, after reading those two sentences, you know immediately what they do and how they aim to add value to their lives. So two perfect examples of the 20 seconds rule. The second part is 2 minutes to drive engagement. So the hardest part is over, right? You have someone's attention, but now you have to drive engagement and connect with that customer. And the goal of these 2 minutes is to have a piece of storytelling in place that makes customers feel like, hey, this is interesting. I want to learn more about this brand. And the best and most common way to do this is by telling a story. So how do you tell a story that actually drives engagement? Well, then it's important to realize that the core of a relationship between a brand and a person is a set shared of values. So, yeah, a set shared of values, because when a person can identify themselves with a brand, you have a potential lifelong connection. So, with this piece of storytelling, you want to make sure that you're actually sharing your values. So, what you stand for, why you do what you do, and who you're helping with your products. And I have an example of this as well. Adidas recently collaborated with Allbirds. Allbirds is another brand selling shoes and clothing, and they collaborated to create the most sustainable shoes ever made. And on their campaign website, you first of all understand what they do within 20 seconds, and then when you scroll down, you can take a deep dive and watch this piece of storytelling, a beautiful video, and really dive into why they are collaborating and what they're trying to accomplish with this collaboration. So in this video, you will experience, and a story will be told about their beliefs on making high performance shoes with lower carbon emissions and how they're planning on doing it. So they're immediately saying what they stand for in order to connect with the people that stand by the same values. For example, if you value the environment and believe products need to be made in a more sustainable way, you're going to be very interested in this collaboration and want to learn more about what sort of products they're going to make through this collaboration. Then already the last part of the 20-20 rule. So 20 minutes to build relationships. In the marketing world, we're always talking about the short attention span of customers. Everything must be super quick. And I also just said it with the 20 seconds rule, the first part of this content and storytelling rule. But we must not forget that when we have someone's attention, we must also do something with it. And customers are actually very willing to learn about your brand and the products you are offering when they're interested. So what we always say at Story of AMS is, let those who want to learn more, learn more. And to accomplish this, you need to have at least 20 minutes of content easily accessible throughout your e-commerce website. So from videos on your homepage to different types of media such as AR, blog posts, product videos, whatever, and integrate them across your e-commerce website. Because at the end of the day, a customer will only buy from you if they trust you. And the more trust there is between a person and a brand, the higher your conversion will be. And simply, trust is earned by answering all of the questions a customer might have about your products and about your brand. So by scattering at least 20 minutes of content throughout your e-commerce website, with that content, you want to answer all of the questions your customers might have about your products and the doubts they might have about your brand, for example. Because if you answer all those questions, trust will increase in your brand, in your products, and conversions will also increase. And a perfect example of this is Patagonia. So on the Patagonia e-commerce website, when you land there, the whole website is filled with documentaries, films, product videos, articles, you name it. And with that, when browsing for your favorite products, you really get an understanding of what they do, what they stand for, the quality of the products, etc. And it just increases your trust in this brand and their products. So to summarize, you first of all need to pique consumer interest, then drive engagement, and then build the trust with the 20 minutes to make sure you're turning your visitors into customers. The 3 best practices. So besides incorporating the 20-20 rule, I want to end today's talk with 3 very practical tips that will have a very large impact on your conversion rates. So the first one is site performance. 79% of customers are less likely to buy from you again if your website performance is bad. And what is bad website performance? Well, 50% of customers expect website pages to load in less than 2 seconds. So every second it takes to load your website decreases your conversion by 7%, which is insane. And site performance just has a lot of effect on your conversion ratios. And quick ways to increase your site performance are, first of all, you can reduce and compress image file sizes, leverage a content delivery network, or minify or improve your HTML, JavaScript, or CSS on your site. The second one are reviews. So the main disadvantage e-commerce has over physical stores is that customers can't interact with the product before they're buying it. So therefore, online shoppers rely heavily on other people's reviews. And in fact, 88% of consumers trust online reviews just as much as a personal recommendation from a friend, which is insane. And also the average order value of customers who don't engage with reviews on your site, who do engage with reviews on your website, is 11% higher across industries than customers who don't engage with reviews on your website. So first of all, make sure you're collecting reviews and then make them visible throughout your whole website, from your homepage to your product detail pages. Last but not least is multi-language. So according to a recent survey by Shopify, about 35% of all Shopify traffic comes from international visitors. And customers, put simply, are just most comfortable shopping in their own language. And the recent study by Gallup actually found that 42% of Europeans have never purchased a product other than in their own language, which is insane, especially if you look at like a country where I'm from, the Netherlands. We're so internationally focused, but still 42% of people have never purchased a product other than in their own language. So make sure to look into your customer data and figure out whether you have a lot of traffic coming from a specific country and maybe actually already purchases coming from other countries. And then if one country stands out, make sure to tailor your website to that language. And that's that for my talk already. If there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them. So let me check. Are there any questions? Let's see. No questions yet coming in. Nonetheless, if there are no questions coming in, you can join to the 2D Hangout, where there's also a Q&A room, and I can also answer questions there. So I will wait a few minutes to see if any questions come up. If not, you can find me in the 2D Hangout and ask your questions there. So thanks for attending. If you're not joining the 2D world, I hope you enjoy the rest of the event, and otherwise I will see you there. Oh, I see one question coming in here. Do you have recommendations for good translation tools? There are some apps, for example, like at Storyvams, we work with the Shopify ecosystem a lot, and there are some good translation apps that are native to the Shopify ecosystem, which you can download. I don't have any names right now, but if you are on Shopify, I don't know, you can go to their app store and then just type in translation and you will see some great apps. Another example you can do is work with a headless CMS. So within Shopify, basically Shopify, Magento, BigCommerce, etc., their content management system is actually pretty limited, simply because they are not built to be a content management system. They're built to be an e-commerce backend engine. So when it comes to multiple languages, it is pretty complicated within your team solutions that come with a Shopify or Magento, etc. So what we always say to our clients when they want to sell in multiple countries and really personalize the experience to that country, we always switch over to a headless setup, because that way they can work with a headless content management system where it's super easy to make your translation. So I don't know if it answers your question. But yeah, cool. Good to hear that I answered your question. Alrighty. I don't see any other questions coming in. So I'm heading to the 2D Hangout. I'm leaving here. So thanks for everyone that attended, and enjoy the rest of the event and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.